Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing my Dewey's 24-hour readathon TBR. I am super excited about this because I've never been able to participate in this one before because it always just fell on a weekend that I had other stuff going on and I knew I wasn't really going to read a lot. But at least so far in my life, I have no plans for Saturday. I am trying as hard as I can to do all of the work that I normally do on Saturday on other days. When I knew that Dewey's 24-hour readathon was going to be happening, I immediately started thinking about books that I could potentially be reading. Since this is my first time doing a 24-hour readathon, I knew I had to be more strategic than I normally am because it's only 24 hours. You don't really have a lot of time to mess around. And the other thing is that I don't feel like I'm a very fast reader, so I had to think about things that would make it feel like I was being productive during the readathon without being so ambitious about my TBR that it was frustrating that I wasn't getting through things fast enough. So obviously the first thing that I gravitated towards were comics and graphic novels. One thing that I haven't really talked about on my channel before is the fact that I stopped buying single issue comics. There are multiple reasons for that. The number one being just money. Just being straight up here. So I basically just dropped off on all of the comics that I was reading previously, and it's made me really sad because I want to know what's happening in those series, but I have to wait until they're out in trade. So it's been like almost a year and it's only just now starting to come out in trade, all the comics that I was previously reading. So the first two comics that I picked up from the library were Gotham Academy Volume 2. That's not Gotham Academy, this is Gotham Academy, and this is Batgirl Volume 2. These are two of my favorite series that are currently ongoing at DC. I mean, these are probably the only DC books I work at trying to keep up with. And I believe I stopped in the middle of both of these story arcs, so I'm very excited to pick these up and to get back into these characters' lives. The other one that I picked up that I'm very, very excited to read is Lady Killer Volume 1. I've heard really, really fantastic things about this series in general, and it follows this woman who is an assassin as well as a housewife. So it's supposed to be sort of like a dark comedy type of thing. I'm very interested to see if I like this one or not. And then the final one that I picked up is a graphic memoir, and that is Honor Girl by Maggie Thrash. This is sort of like a coming of age story. I believe that there are also LGBTQ themes happening in here, and it takes place one summer at camp. You are following 15-year-old Maggie, I believe. I've heard really, really great things about this graphic memoir, so I'm very excited to read this myself. So those are all of the comics and graphic novels that I have planned. I have a pretty strong feeling that I will get through all of those unless something happens on Saturday. And I also wanted to read a couple of novels at least, or at least try to read one novel. So the one at the top of the list that I have is Signs Preceding the End of the World by Yuri Herrera. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book, and it's also on the short side. I think it's less than 200 pages long, and I've heard that this is just a really, really compelling story. But I'm not sure how the language is or anything like that. The font is relatively big in this one, if you can see that there. So I have a feeling that if I try, I will be able to finish this during the readathon. But if you've read this book and you know that it's not good for readathons, that definitely let me know down in the comments below. And then I picked up Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. This is a short story collection that takes place in the Lunar Chronicles world. As I'm sure all of you are aware of at this point, I've read all of the Lunar Chronicles books and love them all. And so when I found out that she was writing a short story collection that takes place in the world, I was very excited to pick this up. And so I figured that this would be great for a readathon as well because it's short stories, so I can pick it up and put it down throughout the day. And it's also young adult, so it'll be relatively quick. And then the final book that I picked up at the library, I kind of just picked up on a whim because I saw it there and I heard good things about it. And that is Kill the Boy Band by Goldie Offski. Hopefully I said that correctly. This is another young adult book, in case that wasn't obvious by the title and the design here. I believe you are following either one girl or a group of girls who are obsessed with this boy band who end up kidnapping them for some reason and somehow. And so as someone who is very much into boy bands, still to this day, embarrassingly enough, not embarrassingly enough, I have no embarrassment over that fact, and someone who is a self-proclaimed fangirl, I have been basically my entire life since pre-teenhood and above. I'm very intrigued to see how this one goes. It's also relatively short and it's also young adult, so I figured I would at least have this one in the mix in case I wasn't feeling any of the other books and I wanted to read a novel. So that's everything that I have on my TBR. Dewey's 24-hour readathon is one of those where everyone starts at the exact same time, so I will have a link down below to the page on the website that shows you what time it starts in your time zone. It starts at 7 a.m. for me, so I'm going to try really hard to wake up like 5 or 10 minutes before 7 a.m. and get started right away, because I know I'm not going to stay up all night because I have like church on Sunday morning, and because I am not getting anything done on Saturday. I need to be, you know, a relatively productive human being on Sunday. My goal is to try to stay up to like midnight or so-ish. I'm not setting like too specific goals beyond that point. I really just want to wake up at 7, read as much as I can throughout the day, go to bed by midnight. If you want to follow me in terms of like a play-by-play, I will probably be posting the most on Snapchat because that's like the easiest and it makes the most sense. So you can feel free to follow me on Snapchat if you like. I don't know how much I'll be posting on Twitter and Instagram because I just don't use those a lot during readathons, especially Instagram. It feels like overload to post too much on there. You can follow me on those places anyways, or you can just follow me on Goodreads if you want to just see at the end all of the books that I ended up reading. So yeah, like I said, if you've read any of those books and you think that they are either great or not great for a readathon, definitely leave that comment down below because I need to know if I need to not read one of those books or anything like that. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.